Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about the 100 episode 405 titled The Tinder Box, which premiered Wednesday, March 1st, 2017 on the CW. So guys, quick reminder, huge spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode already, go do so first before you come and check out what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other video reminders are up on screen right now, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. Otherwise, let's start the 10-minute clock, and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So timeline-wise, I'm thinking it is immediately after 404, the previous episode, but you have to take account for travel times, because Octavia is still on Helios in the woods, and then you also have Asgeda making their way towards Arcadia. So however long that's meant to take, I believe that's how much time has passed between the two episodes. So huge episode reminder though is the fact that you get Arcadia against Asgeda. Huge thing going on right there, and the whole objective of the episode is to stop a war from starting between these two. So breakdown for the storyline though, it's pretty much taking place either on Becca's Island or it's taking place at Arcadia or on their way to Arcadia. So this kind of like that. So based on Becca's Island though, let's start with there. We find out that through some research or through some analysis that Nightblood was made to be resistant to radiation because the flame gave off radiation. So it made sense that if you're going to put this device inside of it, you have to be able to resist whatever it's emitting. So there's that. We also see Raven having seizures due to her brain overworking itself in very high capacity to what it's meant for. She's accessing a lot more of her brain power because of the upgrade that Allie has given her. But because of that, though, Raven shows signs of having had a stroke. Also, we find out from that Allie's code is still inside of Raven. She's the only one who got the upgrade because she didn't disconnect from Allie the same way everyone else did. Everyone else, Clark flipped the switch for them. They did a proper shutdown. But for Raven, she was cut off by the electromagnetic pulse that was sent at the base of her neck back in episode 311. So because of that rupture in connection, it kind of disconnected before transfer was complete, if you will. So that's why Raven still has a bit of Allie's code inside of her, but that's also why she's dealing with all these side effects now, which have led to her stroking out and stuff like that. Also, you find out that in order to recreate Nightblood, they're going to need to do it in zero gravity environment. That's the only way for it to work for some reason. And to do so, they found a functioning space pod from the looks of it that could take them to space. I think long enough for them to recreate the Nightblood formula. And we also find out that the reason why Becca was up on Station 13 in the first place, Allie believed that Becca did it to get away from her, but instead Becca went up into space to find a way to synthesize the whole Nightblood solution so that more people could utilize it. So there's that. Now, moving on to Arcadia, though. So, again, we get 2 points. We get the road to Arcadia and then actually at Arcadia. So the road to Arcadia deals with the whole conflict between Arcadia and Asgeda. We see Rowan agreeing to talk it out with Clark, and they made a deal where it's 50-50 for the Alpha Station. So 50 slots would go to Asgeda, 50 slots would go to Arcadia, and Clark agrees to that. We also see Riley going rogue as he wants to kill King Rowan for having his people put him as a slave, but Bellamy talks him down from it, thankfully. So there was no war started. Everything's all good for them. But unfortunately, back in Arcadia, though, Elion, who had brought a dying Octavia back home, he was left unsupervised within Arcadia, and he found his way to the server room, and he ended up blowing it up. And since the server room was above the engine room, it caused the whole Alpha Station to go up in flames. So now Plan B for Arcadia is now up in smoke. So there's that. Last moments of the episode, though, show Abby hallucinating, seeing Clark on Becca's Island, covered in boils and being a victim to the radiation. So there's that. Tidbits, though, let's talk about Abby's hallucinations. Because Abby is hallucinating just like Raven did about spacewalking again, apparently this is one of the first signs of them having a stroke. And since Abby kind of got disconnected from Allie's chip in a very similar way to Raven did, chances are that she's going to start experiencing these side effects to having the chip disconnect the way it did. So there's a concern there. We also see Bellamy rushing to Octavia in the wake of the explosion at Arcadia. He sees his sister is still alive, but she's dealing with smoke inhalation, a stab wound in her side. She's not in top form, but they are back together again, and they see that they are both still alive and breathing. So there's that. We also see the return of Nyla, and she comes because she's doing a supply trade between Arcadia. She makes comment on the fact that the hunting has been a little low, so she's been salting and drying a lot less than usual for Arcadia. But in exchange, she gets Monty's moonshine. But because of the whole march from Azgeda, Nyla stays behind to watch over Octavia as she heals, as requested by Clark. So there's that. Now, ship status, people. We see Monty and Harper, especially when they're showing concern for one another, especially when they're part of the guard and they have to be the front lines as snipers against the Azgeda army. We also see Bellamy and Clark, both trying in their own way to keep the peace between Arcadia and Azgeda. You get Clark working with Roan, but you also get Bellamy working with Riley. And then also the moment when they see each other again after Clark realizing that Bellamy is Roan's prisoner, it's definitely a very emotional, but they can't get emotional. They can't show all their cards. But you could see it, though, in the little exchanges right there. So anyways, also you get a bit of Octavia and Ilion in the fact that he saves her twice in this episode, when beforehand there's definitely been some antagonistic tension between the two of them. So moving on, the most shocking moment of the episode, I think it has to be the fact that Ilion actually destroyed Alpha Station. I didn't think he'd go through with it, but I can understand why he'd want to destroy all technology, since he blames all technology for the death of his family. Although I'm thinking if he finds out that it is technology that would allow him to become a Nightblood, if it ever came to that situation, I don't think he would do it. I don't think he'd go down that path again. But the fact that Ilion destroyed Alpha Station was surprised. I'm surprised no one noticed him wandering around at all inside as well, since he was still an unknown face. No one knew him except for Octavia inside those walls, and she was unconscious for most of her stay there. So there's that. So moving on to for my top 3 favorite moments, and first one is the negotiations between Clark and Roan. It was very interesting to see what was brought up, how it was brought up, and just see how they fed off of each other in words of how they're supposed to get what they want without instigating a war between the two of them. So it was very interesting to see how that whole thing managed to play out between them. I definitely like seeing the two of them work together and try to put their two leaderships aligned. So I'm excited to see more of the two of them together in this type of scenario, just to see how their leadership styles bump heads, I guess you could say. Second favorite moment I have to say is Ilion saving Octavia. Okay, so the first time he saves her is getting her back to Arcadia. So it makes sense why he would do that, because, as she said, he used her to get inside so that he could destroy the Alpha Station. But the second time Ilion saves Octavia, it's after he sets the server room on fire. He could have left her there on the ground to die from smoke inhalation, eventually be consumed by the flames, but he doesn't. He says that he's not going to let her die. So I really like that, considering the history they had in the previous episodes back in Polis. So there's something there. I'm definitely seeing it. So there's that. Third favorite moment is seeing Bellamy actually getting through to Riley. Really trying to spare Riley the fate that Bellamy has placed himself in because of war. He claims that he's a murderer because of war. He doesn't want Riley to take on the same guilt that he's been dealing with. And then he's also trying to spare Riley from Echo's threats, since if Riley shoots the king, then she's going to shoot Riley, vice versa. If you shoot him, I shoot you, and all that goes around in circle. But I really like that. I really like how Bellamy connected with Riley and that it worked. So there's that. Next favorite moment, I'm going over 3 here, and it was that we got to see Raven's upgraded brain being put to great use. We get to see just how, while it's at the expense of her own physical body, but it's just fantastic to see just how she is able to access more of her brain capacity than normal, and just see how she's able to make these connections and make these conclusions about everything that she's been given around her. And there's the timer. So I like seeing that upgrade in action for sure. And another thing, like I mentioned before, last favorite part would have to be between Clark and Bellamy. Just the little exchanges between the two of them when they first see each other, as Bellamy being Rowan's prisoner and Clark trying to lead negotiations. And then later on when they come back with Rowan and Echo and saying like, okay, war has been stalled. We've come to a deal, and they've kind of made peace with it. And then just later on when they're back at Arcadia, Bellamy has Octavia in his arms protectively. Clark is also there with him. She's holding Octavia's hands. Just great seeing them in a united front, despite where they started at the beginning of the episode, where they were forced to be on opposite sides of things. Or I guess not forced to be, but they couldn't be obviously united, I guess you could say. So, top 3 peed moments. I only have the one, is the fact that Ilion actually destroyed Arcadia. I mean, that is years of data now gone because he lit the thing up. And because of it, I'm also a little glad that Ilion kind of destroyed Arcadia, because now it does level the playing field between Arcadia and Azgeda. Now Clark doesn't have to tell Arcadia that she had given 50 slots away to Azgeda. They don't have to. Azgeda doesn't have to worry about Arcadia only focusing on their survival instead of finding a way for everyone to survive, because now they all have to. They're all in the same boat. They don't all have an advantage over protection against Prime Fire. So in a way, I'm okay with him destroying Arcadia. I just didn't like that he actually destroyed it and everything that came with Arcadia, or the Alpha Station, I should say. He didn't actually destroy the whole Arcadia, the village itself. So there's that. So what moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode? The whole Arcadia versus Azgeda standoff. For sure, definitely. Moving on to the random questions. I only have the one, and it is the fact that if Raven still has Allie's code in her head because of the electromagnetic pulse that she received to destroy the chip, then could the same be said for Abby? Is it possible that Abby has some parts of Allie's code in her and she just isn't aware of it, or she isn't aware of the differences yet, since she too faced a similar disconnection like Raven had? So that's my one question as well. Because we are definitely seeing that Abby is taking on some of the symptoms that Raven was taking on earlier, that they attributed to stroke. So there's that. Moving on to little predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for 406, it looks like the episode's not returning until March 15th, so that's a 1-week hiatus for us. But it looks like Monty is voicing the risk to Clark and Roan about them transporting hydrazine to Becca's Island, how dangerous even the smallest unsteady road could lead to them exploding a lot of heavy explosive material that they need to save them all. So there's that. And Rowan goes, what could possibly go wrong? He just set them up right then and there, and I love it. Also looks like Bellamy is along for the ride too. It looks like they might be attacked at some point because you get Rowan jumping from truck to truck or something. But it's definitely looking like a mission, a very dangerous mission for them. But based off the synopsis, though, it reads that Clark and Rowan must work together in hostile territory in order to deliver an invaluable asset to Abby and her team. So it's pretty much what the promo gives us. Invaluable asset has got to be the hydrazine to get the ship to space to allow them to recreate the Nightblood formula. So aside from that, I'm really glad that they showed Bellamy also being a part of this transport mission, because I really want to see Clark, Rowan, and Bellamy together in a situation. I just want to see how we saw it in 401 for a bit. We saw it in 315, and I want to see if anything has changed since between the three of them. So that'll be interesting to see. I don't really have any other predictions, but if it's depending on the timeline, how well they space 405 and 406, Octavia, her healing status will vary. Hopefully, it still shows her healing from the stab wound. She can't be just immediately healed right off the bat. I'm going to get annoyed if that's the case. So we'll just have to wait and see about that. But what did you guys think of the episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear all your thoughts, theories, and predictions about all of that. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found at one place. So go check it out there. Follow me there if you like. If you like the 100, I'm assuming you do if you're checking this video out. Or if you like any other show that I talk about, you can follow me there. WordPress is also connected to that account as well as to this account. But everything I post is interconnected with everything. But WordPress is a little more organized. So you might want to check everything out over there. Or follow me there if you want. But that is about it, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. I hope you come back in 2 weeks to hear what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wishing you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.